uniform are reminded to stand at attention. Members not in uniform and civilians may place their hand over their hearts. Master Sergeant Jackson has requested some Navy honors to be rendered as part of the ceremony to honor the start of his military service. Of the official party and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem, Hawaii Pono'i, and the invocation by Mr. Anthony Kalang. Joseph R. Harris II, Commander, Hawaii Air National Guard, and Master Sergeant Andrew Lee Jackson, submarine qualified plank owner of the USS Cheyenne, SSN 773, and 2018 Air National Guard Military Journalist of the Year, arriving. Mr. Anthony Kalang will now offer the invocation.
We can all have a seat. And before I offer a word of prayer, I wanted to read a scripture for Andy. First of all, Andy, what a great place to retire. It's a major blessing. But as a friend and as a minister, I wanted to read this passage for you. It's in Psalm 27, and King David, who was also a military leader, said this: "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" And I thought about this passage for you, Andy, just because God has been your rock and your salvation your whole life. And I couldn't be more honored and proud of you officer ceremony today. Would you all join me and bow with me as we go to our God in prayer? Father, thank you so very much for life itself. Each day is a gift absolutely from you. And we're here today to lift up Andy to you. For the 25 years of service, the sacrifice that he and Shirley have made over the years, Father, thank you for protecting him and guarding him, but also guiding him in his own conscience. And Father, thank you for helping him be the man of God that he is today because of you. And we are confident that the next chapter of his life will be even more glorious as you use he and his family in a tremendous way. Thank you for family and friends being here today. This is a time of celebration. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. DeLange. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone. This is the first time we've actually had a ceremony here. This was Andy's vision. At first when he explained it, I thought it was down the hill, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. Much better. I had no idea it would work out the way it did. Andy had a vision. So thank you very much for being here today. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and acknowledge family members and military distinguished guests joining us here today. Please hold your applause until all introductions have been made. Master Sergeant Jackson's wife, Shirley. His mother, Mrs. Susan Permiter. His sister, Amanda. Master Sergeant Jackson's nephew, Wesley, and his girlfriend, Ash. Welcome. Deputy Adjutant General, State of Hawaii, Brigadier General Stephen Logan. Mobilization Assistant to the Director of Logistics and Engineering, U.S. Indo-PACOM, Brigadier General Leo Mitsuyoshi. We have with us today the Commander of the 29th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Colonel Hatcher. Director of Staff, Hawaii Air National Guard, Colonel Daniel Rajan. Command Chief, Master Sergeant, Hawaii Air National Guard, Chief Master Sergeant May Martin. He's running around there, you go, thank you. Deputy Commander, 154th Wing, Colonel Regina Umine. All right, let's give him a round of applause. We also have some special guests today with us. We have Major General Harrison's wife, Sarah. Thank you very much for coming. We'd also like to welcome all of Master Sergeant's peers from the state of Hawaii, civilian life, Department of Defense, and all the commanders of the Hawaii National Guardsmen in attendance today. Mahalo for taking the time out of your busy day to attend. Thank you. Recognizing a member of a career long and honorable Jackson's is an old tradition in the military. A retirement ceremony is a prestigious event and the highest honor we can give a retiring Air Force member. The ceremony is used to say thank you for faithful service and wish you good luck in your future endeavors and bid you a heartfelt farewell as a member transitions into Air Force retirement. Through this transition, we must remember that military retirement is just an extension of a military career and that retired members will continue to be a valued part of the United States Air Force and the Hawaii Air National Guard communities. Today we continue this tradition. We have the privilege of recognizing Master Sergeant Jackson as he retires from the United States Air Force. We also recognize and acknowledge the many sacrifices that the Jackson family has endured. We recruit individuals, but we retain families. We are pleased to have with us today as our presiding official, the Commander of the Hawaii Air National Guard. Now with remarks, Major General Joseph Harris.
Aloha, welcome everyone to this retirement ceremony for Master Sergeant Andrew Jackson, photojournalist and public affairs advisor here at Headquarters, Hawaii Air National Guard. To Sergeant Jackson's family, Shirley, Susan, Amanda, Wesley, Ash, thank you all for being here today to support Sergeant Jackson as you have done at least for part, if not all, of his career. To our DVs, starting with my bosses, Major General Hara, Brigadier General Logan. Major General Hara will probably be joining us sometime. He's en route, so he'll probably join in the middle. But to you both, thank you for being here. Not only for that, but thank you for letting us make a big mess on your front lawn, which I know you can see from your beautiful conference room And it's not lost on me that you both are decorated Army officers and land component commanders from here in Hawaii, and so are trained to pay attention to the status and condition of the ground all around you. So, sir, I want to assure you that this space will be squared away after the ceremony, and that we will ensure every blade of grass is returned to its original position before we call the cleanup complete. And I also fully understand that as your subordinate, accountability rolls downhill. That said, sir, we're truly thankful you chose to grant Master Sergeant Jackson's request for this venue. As retired Major Hickman mentioned, this is the first time we've done this, and it's turning out great so far. To Brigadier General Mitsuyoshi, Brigadier General Ross, Chief Fox, Bad Moon, Colonel Hatcher, Chief Martin, Regina, thank you all for taking the time to attend today and honor Master Sergeant Jackson and his family on this important occasion. I also want to thank Jeff Hickman, Mr. Galang, for that beautiful invocation. That was awesome. The Navy Honors folks that helped set us up here, and just about the entire Air Guard headquarters staff, to include Master Sergeant Jackson himself. You may have seen him running around making last-minute adjustments right before the ceremony started. This is a lot of work to put this together, so thank you all. It's truly an honor also for me to get to officiate this ceremony and recognize a true military professional who I've had the privilege of working with directly for the last 6 years. At first contact, Andrew immediately impressed me with his talent and calm credibility. Whenever I was fretting over something we were working on, he always eased my mind and calmed me down. He has high emotional intelligence, and he knows how to socially navigate situations at all levels of command. In 2019, when I was a last-minute stand-in for Brigadier General Okahara at the Commanders Conference on the Big Island, I was worried about just about everything just prior to that event. But I quickly learned that all the tech was going to work right in all the rooms and events because of Andrew's approach. I didn't know it at the time, but I learned later that Andrew is a Murphy's Law destroyer. Whatever can go wrong with high-tech audio-visual media and live streaming and sound just doesn't with Andrew. When I started my current job in 2020, COVID-19 was beginning, so we started doing monthly short videos to the troops since we couldn't gather. And Andrew's production, direction, and edit decisions were genius. He fixed every mistake and enhanced all the good things. With COVID-19, Andrew got super busy, but he never lowered his standards. The way he constructed the James Oda Double GO promotion ceremony with all the families and the governor and his wife, the tag, all filmed and broadcast from multiple points, never with more than 5 people in a room. I still don't know how you did that, but it was amazing. And Lana Ole ceremony virtually pioneered some new things as well. We never used live streaming before that, and he figured out how to make a 1,000 person plus ceremony where 40 awards are given across a huge stage. He made that entire event virtual, and yet it was still professional and captured the esprit de corps intended for the event. And we never had more than 5 people in a room. It was so good, we've never gone back to the old way of doing it, and we're not planning to. Andrew has handled every important ceremony we've done since I've been here, and he's taken all the pictures for all our events and unit visits, some of which I will cherish for the rest of my life. So Andrew, thank you for being so good at what you do. Thank you for your thoughtful presentation of who we are as an organization, our people, our missions. You present us to the rest of the world as we would want to be presented. And in my case, that typical makes me look better at what I'm doing than I really am. And I've shared that with you over and over. So thank you for that. Some quick highlights from Andrew's 25-year military career. Andrew enlisted in the Navy in 1995 and served on a Los Angeles-class submarine as a sonar technician for 4 years. But after deciding there was more to life than listening to the ocean and living in dark, confined spaces with sailors, he decided to get out, go back to school, and study communications, and pursue his goal of having a family of his choosing instead of the one the Navy issued him. but not before proudly completing a full 4-year enlistment in 1999. You see, Master Sergeant Jackson credits his military upbringing to the Navy and has never renounced his roots. Thus, we have some of the Navy traditions today at this Air Force retirement ceremony to honor those roots. I am sure Andrew will talk more about that in his remarks. So anyway, after a break in service of about 3 years, Andrew joined the 154th Communications Flight as a senior airman doing video documentary. He did that for several years while attending Honolulu Community College, and in 2005 got his degree in communication arts. He made staff sergeant, and over the following years, he helped the 154th Wing merge the audiovisual function in ComFlight with the public affairs function at Wing headquarters as those career fields merged. From 2006 to 2015, he covered all the most important events that were foundational to who we are as an organization today, including the bed down of the C-17 and the F-22 Raptor. During those years, he also had a tremendous influence on the 154th Wing PA shop as they transitioned into more of a multimedia production organization. Master Sergeant Jackson's training and influence was key to that transformation, and it ripples forward still today with 154th Wing Public Affairs' enviable record of accomplishments and awards. After 2015, Master Sergeant Jackson was assigned to the Headquarters Hawaii Air National Guard and also performed his State of Hawaii job working on the Adjutant General's Public Affairs team. In these combined roles, he has continued to pioneer media and public affairs excellence throughout all the major deployments, state partnership events overseas and in Hawaii, and all the most significant domestic response efforts the Hawaii National Guard has been tasked with over the last 10 years. And although Andrew has chosen to end his military career at this point in time, he plans to continue his service to the state of Hawaii, continuing on the Adjutant General's Public Affairs team. So we will see him and benefit from much of his work still. But today marks the end of an incredible military career journey for Andrew and his wife, Shirley. To the Jackson Ohana, you have been on this journey together that has separated you and created hardships. I think I read on Andrew's RIP that he's deployed almost 30 times, officially. And that doesn't include the countless unofficial trips that you have to end up taking in his role. These hardships caused by absence are real, and they are shared. And the support given to Andrew by you all has enabled him to serve in the exemplary manner he did. So Andrew, although today we honor your 25-year military career, that honor is due also to your whole family for enduring the hardships and supporting you so you could serve. And excellence in all you did for the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, the Hawaii Air National Guard, the state of Hawaii, and the United States of America. Thank you again for attending and showing your support for Master Sergeant Jackson and his Ohana. Aloha.
Thank you, sir. At this time, if you could step out from the trees, the flyover is going to happen. No. The flyover didn't get approved, General Hara. He's not here, so I can say General Hara canceled it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now present decorations to Master Sergeant Jackson. First will be the Meritorious Service Medal. Please stand for the reading of the citation to accompany the award. Attention to orders. Master Sergeant Andrew Jackson distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as a photojournalist, Headquarters, Hawaii Air National Guard. As a Hawaii Air National Guard photojournalist, Master Sergeant Jackson devised an innovative online format for the monthly Hawaii Air National Guard Commander's messages during the COVID pandemic, enabling senior leaders to communicate their vision, guidance, and intent to 2,300 Hawaii Air Guard airmen during a time of unprecedented challenges and uncertainty. Additionally, Master Sergeant Jackson provided vital public affairs subject matter expertise and support during the State Partnership Program events and distinguished visitor engagements, contributing to the achievement of the Adjutant General's objectives and building strategic relationships with the vital regional allies and partners. Master Sergeant Jackson recorded, edited, and produced 3 annual Launa Oli Award presentations that resulted in tens of thousands of views on social media and recognized the outstanding achievement of more than 30 Hawaii Air National Guard superior performers. Finally, Master Sergeant Jackson showcased the Hawaii National Guard response to the Maui wildfires, providing photographs, videos, and interviews that documented aerial fire suppression and search and rescue efforts that were placed more than 25,000 times by 1,800 media outlets in 86 countries. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Master Sergeant Jackson culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing for the reading of the retirement orders. Attention to orders. Reserve Order Echo Kilo 005699. Master Sergeant Andrew Lee Jackson is relieved from current assignment, assigned to the Retired Reserve Section, and placed on the United States Air Force Reserve Retired List effective 6 December 2023 by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Major General Harris will now present the Certificate of Retirement to Master Sergeant Jackson from the Armed Forces of the United States of America in honor of his 25 years of dedicated service. It reads, "This is to certify that Master Sergeant Andrew L. Jackson, having served faithfully and honorably, will retire from the United States Air Force on the 6th day of December of the year 2023. And he has taken millions of these photos, and now he has to stand through them. Karma. We will now be presenting Master Sergeant Jackson with the Presidential Certificate of Appreciation. It reads, "Certificate of Appreciation in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution of honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a critical time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. Your commitment and dedication have been an inspiration for those who will follow in your footsteps and for all Americans who join me today in saluting you for a job extremely well done. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future. Signed, Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr., Commander-in-Chief." Additionally, we'd like to present Master Sergeant Jackson acknowledgement with letters from the Governor, Josh Green, and the Adjutant General, Major General Kenneth Hara. For the Governor's acknowledgement letter, it reads, "It is a pleasure to extend my congratulations on your retirement after more than 25 years of dedicated service to the military and to the people of Hawaii. During your career with the Department of Defense, you have served the people of Hawaii faithfully and well. Your dedication to public service is deeply appreciated, and I extend to you my highest commendation and gratitude for a job well done. Your fellow employees join me in expressing best wishes for a happy, healthy, and prosperous retirement. Signed, Josh Green, MD, Governor, State of Hawaii. And from the Adjutant General's letter, congratulations on your retirement after more than 25 years of distinguished and dedicated service in the Hawaii Air National Guard. You have certainly served as an outstanding leader and role model that has always set the pace for our members. The values that you instilled to our young officers and airmen will play a major role in maintaining the Hawaii Air National Guard's high standards. Your knowledge and expertise have been a tremendous asset to the entire Hawaii Air National Guard, and I want to thank you for your many accomplishments and support. On behalf of the department, I would like to wish you the very best as you prepare for this well-deserved retirement. You have left a legacy that will long be remembered by the members of this organization and the State Department of Defense. Enjoy a happy and healthy retirement. You will always be a part of our ohana. Signed, Kenneth S. Hara, Major General, Hawaii National Guard, Adjutant General. At this time, we'd like to invite Mrs. Shirley Jackson to the front. As part of the military retirement ceremony, it is customary to also honor the military spouse, to recognize the support they have also given and the sacrifices they have made throughout the span of the military member's career. Major General Harris will present Mrs. Jackson with the Air Force Certificate of Appreciation. It reads, "In grateful appreciation of the United States Air Force, it presents this certificate in recognition to Shirley Jackson for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave the strength and purpose to your spouse's service." Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their service. At this time, I'd like to ask Mrs. Jackson to place the pin on her husband's lapel to symbolize his transition from military duty to retired status. All right, thank you, Shirley. In honor of Master Sergeant Jackson's retirement, a flag folding ceremony will be performed by the Hawaii Air National Guard's Honor Guard, led by Major Justin Salona and Master Sergeant Retired Daryl Baghdad. At Master Sergeant's request, he would like to recognize the military service of his family. The flag being presented today belonged to his grandfather, Carol Bills, also known as Didad, who served in the U.S. Navy as a Seabee in the Pacific Theater during World War II. Master Sergeant Jackson would also like to recognize his other grandfather, Emmett Edgar Jackson Jr., who served in the Army Air Corps as a crew chief for the WACO CG-4 glider wing in the European theater during World War II. Other military veterans in his family include Uncle Larry Jackson, United States Army, Vietnam, Auntie Becky Hillman, United States Air Force, his cousins, Kevin and Darren Jackson, United States Marine Corps and U.S. Army, respectively. His stepfather, Bob Permiter, United States Army, Vietnam, Uncle Steve Fangio, United States Air Force, and Colonel Nahaku McFadden, Air National Guard, retired. For more, one second. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a field of blue representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor, white signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, the symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serve our great nation. The sun never sets on the U.S. Air Force nor on the flag we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag, giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights and privileges and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all share, the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and to all. Long may it wave. At this time, Major General Harris, Colonel Rajan, and Chief Master Sergeant Martin will present Master Sergeant Jackson with gifts.
So this is a traditional gift we're bestowing on Andrew from headquarters.
the shadow box for Sergeant Jackson. So for the civilians amongst us, a shadow box is generally a way to highlight a member's service, and it's Andrew's is very unique in that respect. So starting with the left, you have his Navy rank, Petty Officer 3rd Class, along with his Dolphins, and the patch from his first command, the USS Cheyenne, the Los Angeles class attack boat. Then the next 3 ranks are as he joined the Air Force. And you have 3 different utility versions of his rank, from Staff Sergeant to Master Sergeant. So BDUs, BDUs, ACUs, and his Blues. And then the progression of his career from the comm flight, then to headquarters as well. So we couldn't be happier with all the your service over the years, and just are so glad to be able to honor your 25 years of service. So please accept this shadow box as a memento of your service. And then at the bottom you have his 2 commands, his first command and his final command. So the arrowhead is actually a portion of the hull of his first command, the USS Cheyenne. So the plank owner is the ability to have part of the boat on display here. And then overlaid over top of that is the patch of Headquarters Hawaii Air National Guard, signifying his first and final command.
Stand up and move forward, sir. We're not covered anymore by military. All right, at this time, I would like to invite anyone up to come up, share a few words or a short story about Andrew Jackson.
No matter how bad the situation was, how dire it seemed at the time, he still managed to keep a smile on his face. One day I remember he used the term cavitating, and I said, "What the heck is cavitating?" And he goes, "Oh, it's the propeller, it's the water churning up from the propeller on the submarines." And I used to, listen for that kind of stuff when I was a sonar tech. And somehow or another that got to be this inside joke where we had a teapot where we heat up our tea and for hot water for coffee and things. And Andy christened that particular teapot the hydrogen dioxide thermal cavitator 3000. So we used to call it the HTC 3000 for short, but it was really just a teapot to boil water. But that's the kind of quirky, funny thing that Andy would do to help keep sometimes very difficult situations, keep everybody smiling. So I just wanted to thank you. It's been amazing knowing you all these years.
Anybody else? Okay, I got a couple. It was mentioned that Andy has a quirky sense of humor. He tells tons of jokes, not all of them funny. To other people, he thinks it's hilarious. He makes himself laugh all the time. And if you happen to ride an aircraft with him, between inner islands or on the mainland, on the return flight, he wears, what is that called? He wears his kilt on the way back, traditional. Yeah. The airlines people see him coming through the TSA and they're like, "You search him, I'm not gonna search him." So yeah, so if you get to ride on the airplane with him, he's in a kilt. He has the messiest desk in this entire building, but he produces the most. Incredible coworker. I'm gonna stop there because I know how long Andy's speech is. But thank you, Andy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's honoree, Master Sergeant Jackson, retired.
That's going to be tough to follow, even though I knew the script and I wrote my speech. Jeff does know how long it is, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Aloha and mahalo for coming to mark the conclusion of my nearly 30-year military career. Yes, I know the program and all the remarks up to this point have said 25 years, and those good at math might be scratching their heads at the 1995 date. So please indulge me as I supply some context. If you know me, you should expect that. I'm going to try to thank everyone that helped me along my journey, but if I forget some of you, please forgive me and let me know, and I'll get you to the head of the line of the food at the reception. I would like to start by thanking the team that helped plan this, starting with Tech Sergeant Camarillo, Master Sergeant Meme, Chief Master Sergeant Martin, Master Sergeant Pashon, my proffer, and my sound person. Just thank you so much for all of your hard work in putting this together. I know it wasn't easy, and thank you so much for your dedication. Okay, so this won't be a straight path, but a path from the Texas Panhandle to the Submarine Force to the Hawaii Air National Guard could hardly expect it to be a clean or straight path. First off, I wanted to celebrate my Navy and Air Force heritage. I know the Navy bell is, the bell is very Navy as an announcement. But you will also hear it at the closing of the ceremony. I also included my Navy experience in the shadow box, which you've heard a little bit about. I will start with an apology to my wife because she wanted me to keep this short, but it's my podium now, and I have a story to tell. I also wanted to pause and recognize the public affairs folks in attendance and Staff Sergeant Orlando Corpuz and Jewel Felipe who are working their ceremony. We rarely get to come to a ceremony and not work it. Thank you for making me look good, and please enjoy and know that you've got an extra plate. I would like to thank you, Orlando and Jewel. Thank you to my mom, my sister, Minnow, my nephew, Wesley, and Ash for traveling from Amarillo, Texas to be here today. I love you guys. You knew that I was different, but you've never really made me feel that way, and you supported my choices and supported my military career in ways that you will never know. When I tell you that I wanted to, okay, pause. There's pause, it's written right there. When I tell you that I wanted to be a journalist in high school, you might think that is all that I have done, but it's far from it. I grew up in Amarillo, Texas. Yes, the one for the George Strait song. It is also known as Bomb City, the home of Pantex, and the helium capital of the world. When I met with my high school guidance counselor, she steered me away from a career in journalism. She was not wrong. She could not see a dyslexic, ADHD, undisciplined Andrew Jackson making it as a journalist. So I entered the Navy. I went into the late entry program in 1994 before my senior year in high school, determined to find my own path, as I could not afford college and I did not want to waste time and money getting a degree that I would not use. My whole history up to age 18 occurred in the shadow of the remains of the Amarillo Air Force Base. One of my earliest and fondest memories is still waiting for the blue bus to pick me up to take me to Dad and Granny's church. I'd always wondered why that bus was blue. But it wasn't until my first counter-drug TDY mission in Guam, when a blue bus picked us up on the flight line, that it finally clicked. That blue bus that took me to church when I was a kid was military surplus. And in many ways, Amarillo is still an Air Force town. Its sky often buzzes with the sound of military aircraft of all kinds. Bombers, airlift, and fighters still use the runways of the Amarillo International Airport as a training ground for touch-and-goes. Bell Helicopter still has a plant there where it builds the Ospreys. So how did I end up in the Navy? At 18, I'd already been scuba qualified for 3 years and actually worked at a scuba training center. I had been a lifeguard. I was into climbing and rappelling. So my initial plans were to join the Navy and be an EOD diver. But when I took the ASVAB, I did really, really well. And so they offered me the Navy College Fund and the GI Bill if I went to submarine school and then sonar school. And I could go after being a diver after I completed that training. Obviously, I didn't make it to dive school. That's because I found my first military family in the submarine force. Earning my spot there is still one of the most difficult things I have ever done. See, every sailor that serves aboard a submarine, or a boat, as we affectionately call it, is required to get their fish. They're supposed to do it within 12 to 18 months. So you're handed a qualification card that must be guarded with your life and told that you are DINK, or delinquent in qualifications, and that you are a NUB, a non-useful body. I know, great acronyms, right? During the next 13 months, I learned my boat system by system, hand over hand, and proved my knowledge with system experts in the crew through a series of checkout interviews, where I'd often have to take a lookup, as I was faced with a question I could not answer. And every single system, there's always a question you cannot answer. This requirement was in addition to standing watch in port every 3 to 4 days and at sea every 18 hours. See, I'm wearing my fish today to honor this achievement. Now, it might not be in regs, but I've never really met a reg I couldn't nudge a bit. It's kind of a submariner thing. I could probably actually still navigate my boat, the USS Cheyenne, from fore to aft, blindfolded in a self-contained breathing apparatus, in fire gear, and rig a fire hose. There's actually times I still miss the rhythm of life at sea. See, once qualified, you're accepted as a member of the crew. This whole experience has actually shaped my military career, and it formed my compass. At first, you would think that getting qualified was for ship safety, and while yes, that is a purpose, there's always a deeper lesson. See, every member of the crew needs to understand and value what the other crew members do. From the yeoman to the egg-hanger, from the nuke to the coner. Okay, let me translate. For my Air Force brothers, from A1 to maintainers, and for my Army guys, from loggies to motor pool and artillery. Hiki nope. We may give the other sections grief, but with due respect, because we had to learn their systems and had to go through their saltiest member in each shop to get signed off on every system they were responsible for. This was a humbling, frustrating, and empowering experience, but I learned the value of every shop and every sailor on that boat. This is a lesson that I brought to the Hawaii Air National Guard and the Hawaii National Guard as a whole, that every airman and every soldier is the master of their own domain, and they are essential to the mission readiness of the Guard. He's not here today, but I would like to thank Chief Petty Officer James Walker for guiding me through this process, even though I was often a bonehead. The second lesson the Navy taught me was the value of the Senior NCO Corps. Chiefs in the Navy are a singular entity. A command and ship will succeed or fail on the backs of their chiefs. Becoming a chief in the Navy marks a career such as a milestone, that is such a milestone that it requires a change in uniform to that of the officers. Chiefs mold the crew from the junior enlisted to the division officers. They are the gatekeepers of wisdom. A chief in the Navy is to be feared, respected, and always listened to. Every military branch has their senior NCOs, and their roles are different, but a successful military is not possible without its senior NCOs. I would like to thank Colonel Anthony, Major Hickman, Senior Master Sergeant Kristen Stanley, Command Chief Master Sergeant Jelinski Hall, Colonel Martin for their guidance that helped me make Master Sergeant. These lessons that you taught me are not in any textbook or course. It came from your broad spectrum of experience, and I would like, again, to say mahalo to Chief Walker for being my first example and for adding photographer to my military experience. See, Chief Walker is just as responsible for me standing here as a military journalist as anyone else on this planet. He appointed me as the ship's photographer, which required additional schoolwork, and as the ship's photographer, I was trained in the basics of black and white photography, operated as a surveillance photographer and event photographer, where I learned the importance of getting a picture of the cake. Did you get a picture of the cake? Because nothing else matters at this ceremony unless you get a picture of the cake. Don't worry, Orlando. While there is a cake, please get a picture of the katsu. Because there's katsu. Of course, you knew there would be katsu. If you know me, there's going to be katsu. Because of my experience on the ship, I can actually still win a bet about who has worked with the biggest lens with most of my photographer friends, because a 60-foot periscope is truly just a lens for a 70mm high contrast camera, even if most of the pictures I took with that thing are still classified. Those lessons in using a manual camera help me understand my craft and perfect my skills. F-stop, aperture, ISO are just as much a part of my lexicon as FOD walk, OPSEC, full court press, and KFC. And no, KFC is not about food. I chose to separate from the Navy to pursue a family. Thank you, Shirley, for providing me with my second family, a Hawaiian family, a very large Big Island Ohana. The lessons I've learned from the Brown Anato Ohana have transformed me as a person. See, now, I was out of the Navy with no intention of more military service, and then I ended up in the Hawaii Air National Guard because during my 3-year break in service, by the way, this is how I get to almost 30 years, because I was still in the IIR finishing my 8-year obla-serve. When you join the Navy, or when you join the military in the active duty, you enlist for 4, but you obligate for 8. So your time is still counting in your LES. And you're not getting paid, you're not earning retirement points, but you're still kind of counting until you run out of that obla-serve time. So that's why on some of my paperwork, it shows a little bit more years than what I actually have. I was working actually at the Copy and Print Center at Office Depot on Dillingham, which I have the ESGR to thank. How's that? Because Office Depot actually had to hire me back when I got out of the Navy because my last job in Texas was at an Office Depot. So when I applied, they put me in the system and I got a call from the manager going, I don't have an open position, but I have to hire you. So I got hired as a furniture person and worked my way into copy and print. So ESGR works. So just want to put that out there. See, and one of my clients at the Dillingham store was a Hawaii Air National Guard recruiter named Master Sergeant Ben Ormita. He explained to me that the state tuition assistance program allowed me to still get my GI benefits. He knew that I was going back to school and to study graphic design, so he got me into the Hawaii Air National Guard's VI shop at ComFlight after I had to do an informal interview with then Staff Sergeant Higgins. I quit my job at Office Depot and became a full-time student at Honolulu Community College. I would again like to thank Shirley for supporting me in this decision, because even though I was making more money on the GI Bill with drill pay than I did full-time at Office Depot, it was still a risk. My career at the Hawaii Air National Guard has always been as a traditional, although I've held almost every order status assigned to me except for federal technician. Even now, working at the Hawaii State Department of Defense, I'm a state employee, but well within reach of a mission from the Hawaii Air National Guard. Well, maybe not after today, but sorry, Hang. I was in ComFlight as a video documentation airman until VI was merged with Public Affairs 3 years after that. So here I was. I know it seems like a long bit of a story, but 10 years later, after being told I stood no chance as a journalist, with the door standing wide open for me to be a military journalist. Now, the door may have been down a hallway at the back of a hangar, but the door was open and I was going to go through it. Thank you, Air Force. I got my degree in graphic design and photography, and I wanted to thank my father, who we lost in April, and my mother for their creative genes. My dad was a graphic designer by trade, and he and my mother are accomplished painters. I went to work in the private sector at several different advertising agencies, all the while drilling at the 154th Wing headquarters, taking the occasional TDY to Guam, Australia, and Malaysia, and Thailand. And this is where then Major Anthony comes into play. See, he would keep getting me on orders as he spoke about to do for special projects, to produce the Hawaii Air National Guard Commanders Conference videos, the Hawaii Air National Guard 50th and 60th videos. And when the time was right, he offered me a chance to come work for the state of Hawaii as a newly minted tech sergeant in 2011. Thank you, Chuck. Sir, for the opportunity to work with you and to get my feet wet at headquarters level of PA, I appreciate and trust. I appreciate the trust that you had in my abilities and challenging me to always get better. The move to Hawaii Department of Defense headquarters as a full-time journalist and the Hawaii Air National Guard headquarters for drill was an eye-opening. It was my first real experience in a joint environment. I had to learn to speak Army, much to the chagrin of my Air Force mentors. You guys really do have your own language. I already was a bit salty and gruff from my time in the Navy, and now the Army added an additional edge. Throughout my journey at headquarters, I have had to undergo much refining and detailed alignment adjustments, propelling me towards the path I needed to tread. I have had the privilege of traversing the Pacific Theater and responding to some of the state's most significant disasters, using my skills to purvey the Hawaii National Guard story. Has always been a fulfilling and an incredibly fulfilling endeavor, surpassing any expectations that I had envisioned. And now I will continue this mission, only doing it from a uniform of Aloha shirts and khakis, and shorts if I can get away with it. It was always the storytelling aspect of the job where I found my calling, rooted in my own family's military history. See, both my grandfathers served in World War II. My grandfather Jackson was a crew chief in the Glider Corps and the Army Air Corps. And my other grandfather, Didad Bills, was a Seabee in the Pacific Theater. They both served honorably and returned home after the war. But it was only during my military career that I unearthed their narratives. Thanks to other military journalists who came before me who had documented their stories during the war. One such story about my grandfather Jackson's unit in the European theater still is an inspiration for me. My granddad had actually lost his trigger finger when he was 9 years old in an accident. And so as an adult, when he was drafted, he wanted to volunteer to be a belly gunner. But a general had him reassigned to the Glider Corps in order to save his life. See, the life expectancy of a belly gunner was not very long. Gliders in the Army Air Corps were a key to the victory in the European theater and even in the liberation of the Philippines. During their time in Europe, the conditions were dismal. In the harsh conditions in Europe, my grandfather and his comrades built their own living arrangements using the wooden crates that carried the gliders. From barracks to a dining hall and even a barbershop, and I even believe medical, they built it out of the crates. They displayed their ingenuity and resourcefulness. And through these stories, I believe that Sergeant Emmett Jackson played a very significant role in the construction and development. And one of the stories I do remember him telling involved a junior officer getting shocked as he tried to remove the unauthorized wiring from the enlisted barracks. So that's his story to tell. My other grandfather, Didad Bills, spent his time in the Pacific Theater, particularly around Guam. I know that, interestingly now, I have visited Guam multiple times in my counter-drug missions and even in my time in the submarines. And even came close to once getting arrested for taking a picture next to the home of the Seabee sign so that I could send it home to my granddad. These personal connections to my grandfather's experiences have ignited a passion for me for storytelling. See, I still tell stories for a living. I will tell more stories. I do this so that your grandkids might discover your adventures. Thank you so much for letting me do this. As I close, and I'm almost close to closing, I promise. There may be 3 closings, but I'm close. This is the first. As I close, I would like to offer thanks to a few other mentors and examples in my career. I met some of you through church and we have been bonded through our walk. Although not here, I would like to thank Colonel Matt Jeffson. He's my brother in faith. Your perseverance through disaster and friendship is a treasure to me. It is true that it is not how you start that matters, but it's how you finish. Strength and honor. Colonel Jeffson is a CE officer in the active duty Air Force, and he rode out Hurricane Michael at Tyndall on base and led the effort to dig out and rebuild. Colonel Jeffson, while he was stationed in Hawaii for 3 years, actually deployed to the Middle East twice. The stories and his his relationship really did help me out through some dark times. To Colonel Mike Jones, my Army brother, thank you for your advice and guidance. To the Morels, again, thank you so much for your mentorship and guidance and listening ear whenever I was having dark nights and going through walls. To Petty Officer Corey Stuck, thank you. He's not here today as well. He was a crew member with me on the Cheyenne. He's part of the responsible for my faith journey. I just want to thank you for your discipleship and faith. To the 3 tags, Major Generals Wong, Logan, and Hara, that I have served under as a member of your special staff, thank you for your opportunity. I will continue to serve as a state employee with excellence and pride. Major General Hara, you are my current and final tag in military uniform. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support of public affairs and Hawaii National Guard wide, and for all the adventures we've been on together. You've gotten me home safe to my wife and my dogs, and I will point them out to you at the reception so you can thank him for getting me home, Shirley, and make sure I don't go anywhere else. I have been fortunate enough to embark on numerous rewarding and life-altering missions throughout my career. One mission that particularly stands out to me is my involvement in supporting the first of the 487th Field Artilleries during the 2021 presidential inauguration in D.C. To Colonel Hatcher, your leadership was a source of inspiration, and I learned invaluable lessons about leadership while riding in the backseat of your command vehicle through the streets of D.C. The 487th's role on bridge security for the inauguration for the lead up and post-inauguration brought them face to face with the cold and wet conditions, but their unwavering dedication and aloha spirit prevailed. Even in the moments of frustration, their smiles and shakas transformed many an angry DC driver into people filled with empathy. Sir, your resilience and poise amidst both of our personal tragedies at that time left a lasting impact on me. To my Guard mentors, General Woodrow, General Jack Sills, Colonel Scrivener, Colonel Martin, Colonel Thompson, Colonel Risen, Colonel Comine, Colonel Torres, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony, Major Hickman, Sergeant Major Kane, Sergeant First Class Teresa Galderama, Senior Master Sergeant Stanley, and Master Sergeant Squatrino Martin, thank you for everything and standing by me. To Major General Harris, it has been an honor to working for you and with you. I value all of the time that I have spent under your dutiful command. Your support of public affairs has been unmatched and truly appreciated. Thank you. To Mr. Steve Lum, thank you for guiding me through the ways of the State Department of Defense. Your friendship and mentorship means the world to me. To the airmen and soldiers who I have had a privilege to serve alongside or lead, thank you for patiently listening to me, even in the moments of saltiness. Though it may at times have seemed like I knew everything, and I know a lot, but I don't know everything, thank you for indulging this wannabe chief. To Shirley, my rock. Without you and your support, patience, and understanding, my success would not have been possible. I have left you at home many times and deployed to support of the Hawaii National Guard internationally, nationally, and locally. I was gone a lot. Thank you for holding down the house. I may still have some missions in my future, but take heart, they will most likely be most within the state. I love you for all that you have done and for what you mean to me. To my dogs, while they are not here, my dogs Jackson and Brownie are a very important part of my life. They supply me with a much needed serotonin bump when I get home on tough days. And getting to hear Jackson is such a good boy every day does such a great thing. Jackson's my dog's name. I didn't name him that. That's another story, and I'm running out of time. But one last thing I'd like to pass on. Most of my career has been joint, or purple, as we say in the military. And I'm convinced that this is the future of the military. Each branch offers their own advantages, but our job of defending the nation and the Constitution cannot be done alone. Every service member will need to realize this and get comfortable in the joint environment, even multinational and bilateral operations. The fight against tyranny in this world has never been more important or subtle. I'm taking up advantage of the pulpit, I know, but I'm almost out. It's the last page. It's the last page. As I approach the end of my speech, I would like to share 2 pearls of wisdom from Andrew Jackson. Me, not the dead one. I know most people have quotes from dead people in their speeches, but I'm going to share a little bit, just of a couple things I would like you to remember. Firstly, it is of vital importance that you take care of your mental and spiritual well-being. Even if you ever find yourself in need, please do not hesitate to reach out to a counselor, chaplain, or anyone to lend a listening ear. This world and this organization is a better place and a better organization because you are in it. Secondly, as a personal request, I urge you to verify your sources when surfing the internet and leaving comments, because maintaining accuracy and credibility in our digital interactions is essential personally and as an organization. I would also be remiss if I did not thank my God for his care and guidance in my life. My spiritual walk is a story as well, and God has often put the right person at the right time in my life. Many of my leadership lessons have come from a daily reading of Proverbs. I read 1 chapter a day. It works out because there's 31 chapters in Proverbs, and all I got to do to know what I need to read is look at what date it is. But with that, thank you for your time. I remain in your service. It has always been an honor, and it will be an honor to serve.
I think we need to add another year to his retirement for that speech. Good job, Andy. The Hawaii National Guard was proud to serve with Master Sergeant Jackson and his wife Shirley. We wish them continued success and Godspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Navy and Air Force songs and the benediction by Mr. Galang.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm inspired by being here today. And Andy, thank you for all your years of service and the contribution that you've made. But let's bow and have a word of prayer. Father, we're just inspired being here today and the ways that you have shaped Andy's life in so many ways. And I know personally, just hearing of all the professional accomplishments that he has been able to experience. Father, thank you that he's even done that in the church setting and given his talents and his gifts to make the church Ohana even that much better. But Father, I do think as you have given us one life to live, we only have one shot to really make a difference in this world. Father, I'm inspired by the fact that when we live for something more than just ourselves, we can really make a difference in this world. And that's what we're witnessing today, the accomplishments of Andy and his family over these decades. But thank you for allowing us to be here to support them in this new chapter. We love you, God. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right, thank you, sir. Please be seated. All right, at this time, Andy, we missed this in the beginning, so we're going to take care of this now. Andy's going to present some lei to his ohana. And we are going to have a reception down in building 306 Alpha. It's the building behind this one, and you can get there by walking down the side. To his wife, Shirley. His mother, Susan. Sister Amanda, or Minnow. And his nephew, Wesley, and his girlfriend, Ash. Let's give one more round of applause to the Jackson ohana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the official party. Major General Joseph R. Harris II, Hawaii Air National Guard, and Master Sergeant Andrew Lee Jackson, submarine qualified, plank owner USS Cheyenne SSN 773, and 2018 Air National Guard Award Military Journalist of the Year, departing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you so much on behalf of the Hawaii Air National Guard and Jackson Ohana. Thank you very much for joining us the whole time today. The family is going to take some pictures, and then you can come up and congratulate Master Sergeant Retired Jackson and his Ohana. And again, there's a reception in building 306 Alpha, and it's the building right behind this one. There's restrooms along the way as well. So, all right, let's get the family up here, take some photos, and then we'll get started for the reception.